And we have sound.
Sound. Sound is a
Yes.
thing.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Downtime, our usually Sunday stream where we just kind of hang out for a bit. Um, maybe once we have some, if we have more people, we'll play some games or stream some sort of art thing or whatever. We're still figuring that all out, but
For now, it's just kind of like the casual downtime.
yeah.
It's could be like what we do in downtime. It could be just like whatever's on our mind for the day. It could be like all sorts of other stuff. Speaking of which, we can't go into like too many big details here because of like whatever, but we need to talk about getting things set up so that we can update the foundry. And so I need to get information, like send it to me separately. Don't like broadcast it on the stream, obviously, but send me like information for your Oracle stuff so that I can update your Foundry.
I will see what I can do.
Pretty sure you sent me stuff in Discord. Um, that's the best I can help you there.
I may
But
have at one point.
at some point, think that we can figure out at some point in the future too, if it's not needed to be right now.
I mean,
Um,
let me see what I can do. I can do a couple of quick like hard searches or something, but
That'd be cool. It's like the sooner I have it, the sooner I can start making those changes, which is the big thing. It's like it doesn't have to be perfect, but it's like yeah, the more time I've got, the better I can actually work with that. And then after that,
I actually wanted to ask. So you went to a Pride event today.
I
What happened with
did.
that?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
There's no Pride event in our area at the moment, so I have to just live vicariously through my friends that go to theirs.
So we live in like the Seattle area, so we've got like tons of different events that have been going on all month. But the big one has happened in Seattle today, and that was like it's still going on.
Of course it
But
is.
yeah, of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? But the parade was from about 11 till about 3. I met up with part of my group down there around 10. We caught the pre-show. We just kind of like figured out things. Being autistic myself, it's kind of like, okay, there's a lot of noise that's going to happen. There's a lot of crowding that's going to happen. I am aware of all of this, but being prepared for it, and I still wanted to experience it. And, group met up, we got some coffee, we found some spots, we were able to kind of watch some things. I'm not entirely sure if I can share like the videos and whatever that I took, but it's still pretty cool. Beautiful types of things, fantastic costumes, wonderful parade stuff, great demonstrations on things. It was like really cool performances. um, we hung out, watched the parade for about an hour before we were overwhelmed, and then we took off.
That's awesome. Um, very cool. I haven't
It
been to a
was a
Pride
really cool
event in
event, and I'm super happy that I went. And
nice.
but and I'll show you like all the pictures. It'll be fantastic. You saw like a couple of them that I sent previously, but it's just kind of like, oh, super cool. It's like super colorful and happy and cheerful, which made me happy.
That's awesome.
And as I move
Um,
into this, it's kind of like, okay, now I'm shifting over to how do I make this artwork for the upcoming streams happier.
happier?
Miranda's borders don't make me happy. She looks like she was just cut and
Oh,
paste.
I mean, she
Um,
kind of was, wasn't she?
no, I mean like kinda, yeah. I put things on like I'm bad in regards to like I rasterize things sometimes to put like filtering effects on it because I'm lazy. And then I have to go back through it. I have to clean things up afterwards, but
I
like
prefer
around
to
her
think of
face
it.
is not.
I prefer to think of it as being efficient,
I
not
was gonna say
lazy.
efficient. Efficient's a fantastic way of saying it too. But like I'll create my thing in a whole bunch of layers and I'll have my super exciting, transparent image that I've created, and then I'm going to rasterize it so I can throw a filter on it, and then I'm going to have to go clean up those edges because that filter meant that I had to go clean up those edges, and those edges are not as clean as I would like for them to be. I feel like Lishva looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how he's looking.
I like Lishva's art a lot. Alert. I like
Alert.
it alert. I like
Well, and I
Lishva's
feel like it's
art a lot. Um,
for those of you who are listening in and not entirely sure what's going on. Uh, in the
well,
next couple of weeks, like tomorrow is our last stream of June. It is also the well, I guess technically it's not the last stream of my for hire version, but I'm gonna be doing a for hire one-on-one with Daisy, and then next week we have off because 4th of July and we all need a break. And then the week after I'll be doing a one-to-one with Tom. And after my one-to-one with Tom, we're going to be shifting over to Vice running the next for hire stream, pulling in a couple new characters and starting a new storyline in a different place, kind of figuring out what's going on with that. So that's going to be super exciting. Lishva is going to be joining us tomorrow, maybe. We're figuring that
I still
out
gotta figure that out with Min. If not tomorrow, then the 17th, as was the
after.
original plan.
Yeah, or
Um,
yeah, that would make the sense. But Lisha might be joining us tomorrow. But I'm really I'm digging his art. I think his art's looking pretty good.
his art looks
Um,
sick. I love his art so much.
I've got Ayana's art. I'm pretty happy with that.
I haven't seen
Uh,
Ayana's art, so
look down at 28 because 28 is where her art is.
oh, that is some cloud-like hair.
That's the point. She had started with kind of like straighter hair, but that didn't read air genasi as much to me. So I was like, okay, I gotta fluff up this hair a bit more so that it reads more as a like air genasi.
Fair enough.
But Miranda doesn't look right. She's looks like cut and paste. So if you look on 30, it's like,
Yeah, I see your
I need
point.
to clean that.
I see your point.
It's not gonna be a hard cleanup, but it's just something I got to put on my to-do list. And I gotta clean that up. And
Right.
then Ravi, I still need to finish. Um, and Ravi is another Shadar Kai where she's just kind of like gray on gray on gray on gray, very much monotone. And it's kind of like, that's cool, but it's really hard to make gray on gray on gray on gray stand out in any way,
So
shape, or form. So it's
I
like,
guess I guess a question I have regarding that is so how many shades of gray do you think you're using? Like maybe even
oh
up to
God.
50?
Luckily, I don't have to count because I just use my Procreate and like I'm lazy. I mean, efficient. We'll go with efficient. Um, but I use my Procreate and then I can just put layers on layers on layers. And then I just have to like put my my spray paint. That's the one I use. I use my spray paint way too much. But I have used my spray paint black and my spray paint white, and then I change the opacity and then I shift the layers. And so I have like 5 different layers of different opacities of black and white.
If it
So
works, it
I
works.
exactly. It's like, that's what works. Let me show you, like people who are watching. Sorry, you'll have to wait until the 17th, the 10th, whenever the new stream starts in order to kind of see that. But Ava, I can show you Ravi, or at least Ravi's not done yet. I need to make some changes, but Ravi as she is now.
Right. The what else was I gonna say? Oh, that is a Shadar Kai, all right.
Yeah.
I dig the shield. That looks pretty sick so far.
Trying to figure. Well, you say so far. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not going to do much more with it.
I
Just
don't know
like,
what your plans are. I didn't want to assume it was done. I don't
I'm
know what you're
not.
doing.
I'm not like I know it's not done. I'm fully aware it's not completely finished done yet. Um, but at the same time, it's gray on gray on gray on gray. It's a lot of gray.
You should have.
And trying to
You know what you could have done? Just done it in all
what
sorts of like wild colors, and then just convert it to grayscale and call it
grayscale.
good.
That would have probably been smarter, so that I could have like kept. But I don't think that far ahead. Um, but yeah, it's like the border of that shield isn't as clean as I'd like it to be for sure. I'm happy with the bird. I think the bird came out okay.
Yeah, the bird
Um,
head looks good.
but I feel like it could probably be better positioned, but I'm not gonna bother with that right now.
She got some
Um,
angry eyebrows too.
that's the point. She was like, okay, so here's the brief I was given. Find the brief real quick. Where's the brief? So I'll give you like two briefs here so I can tell you like the two briefs that I was given for the characters when I find them. All right. Oh my gosh, I swear I had it. It's in here somewhere. I'll find it when I don't need it for
Oh
sure.
yeah, naturally. You'll send it
Yep.
to me at like 2 a.m. a week from now.
All right. So Ravi is a deathly pale, grumpy looking elf, standing at 5'3" with dark gray hair and dark drab clothing, including a tattered black cloak. She is wearing breastplate armor and a shield with a raven's head symbol on it. A strong sense of incense lingers about her. So, like, okay, I'm not 100% there yet, but I feel like I'm about 85% there. Min wants her hair longer, which is fine, a little bit more curvy, which is also fine. She gave me some like inspirational art to go from. Like, okay, it's a lot of gray on gray on gray, but now that I can see it, I can see more of like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess the hair is longer than what it looked like in the picture.
Yeah.
And then let's see if I've got Lishva. Do, 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 do. Got my drafts of Lishva there, but I don't have.
Lishva is a barbarian, isn't he?
He
Is that what I
is.
remember?
He is a barbarian, but he is like more than that for sure. All right. So Lishva, I had to be careful with Lishva because I didn't want to like push him too far into any realm that might make him a little bit beyond whatever. But Lishva might look like a ghoul on first glance, with his deathly pallor, black fringed hair, pointed ears, and lanky build. Not to mention, he's not particularly warm to the touch. He has several piercings on his ears and eyebrows. I didn't do the eyebrows. Several tattoos, the most prominent being a little pair of black wings on his back. Don't see his back, but I was trying to like get that with his shoulders. He can be seen in a dark hooded robe with a skull mask when he's on the job, giving him a very grim reaper like appearance, especially with one or two scythes that he carries around. I wasn't doing weapons, like, no. Um, but when in combat or on stage, so he's kind of like death metal barbarian, bardbarian. Maybe he's like part bard. We'll have to figure that out. He'll dress more minimally, though just as darkly. I
Hmm.
had to ask her what color pop would work, whether she would prefer like red or purple, and she was like blue. I'm like blue, cool, color pop, blue. Probably should have asked that for Ravi too, but Ravi didn't really feel like a color pop was more warranted.
I spelled Miranda's last name wrong on D&D Beyond.
Well, you have time to fix it.
And I am doing so, but hmm, it's still annoying.
We got plenty of time to fix it. There's a couple weeks before we start that part where she's actually taken care of with there.
I mean, it's not like anyone would see the D&D Beyond sheet regardless.
True, but you would, and it would bother you. And every time you look at it from now on, it's still going to bother you. It's going to be a thing.
Maybe, maybe not. I don't
No,
get
you're
to.
going to look at it, and you're going to be like, oh, crap.
I don't
I
get to.
misspelled her name.
I don't get to choose what I remember. So I don't know. We'll find out.
We'll find out what you actually care about in a couple weeks.
I wish it were that easy.
All right.
Um, but in
But
any
yeah,
case,
had a lot of
nice.
fun at Pride. And then also had a lot of fun with our like after group. We can't use names because of purposes that we can't use names. But it was super fun talking to our other group. And I forgot the whole Sonic crap in regards to how that original model looked. Like, oh yeah, that was pretty bad. You're right.
Yeah. I just. I think if it weren't for the established history of the character, it might have been received a little bit better.
No,
But
no.
we know what he looks like. You
Yeah.
know, he's got 30 years of history. We've seen countless iterations of this character that have managed to capture the basic essence And I think that's one of the reasons why the original design felt like such a betrayal, such a
Such a letdown. Like,
discard
oof.
of the established existence.
Yeah.
I don't know. That is pure speculation, and I'm not really a Sonic fan. Like, it's not that I dislike him or anything. I just have no particular attachment one way or another. So, for me, it was more just like, this is ugly.
Like, there were parts that weren't as bad. Like when you saw him in motion and stuff, but with all those close-ups, it's kind of like, yeah, that's creepy. So a little bit back and forth there.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
All
I
right.
think it's really just the body proportions were way off too. Like,
I think that was the biggest thing is that like if the body proportions, like a lot could be forgiven with the design if the body proportions weren't so weird.
I think the muted colors didn't give it any help either, though.
Don't talk to me
Um,
about that. I've got a bunch of grayscale.
but like the original, like the game designs and the second design that they made for the movies, they're so vibrant. They're so colorful and energetic. And the first design from the movie, just the blue was darker, the white was more dingy, the green in the
Yeah.
eyes was off. It
It's
was
like they
just
were going for a more realistic view and like, do you really want a realistic Sonic? That's just weird.
right. We're
Part
not
of the
here because we
it's a
want a realistic
cartoonist.
hedgehog.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It was arbitrarily realistic.
Oh, we had somebody join us. Who joined us?
What's this?
That's me.
It's
It
you.
is
We're talking
you.
about you.
Oh,
Well,
nice.
kind
Not
of talking
really.
about you.
We were talking about Sonic
Like
the
your
Hedgehog when you
characters. Well,
joined.
yes, we were talking about Sonic the Hedgehog, but then we were also talking about your characters and just kind of along the lines of like, um, I feel like Lishva looks pretty good. He looks pretty
Yeah.
hot, honestly. I still
He
have work
has
that
the
I need to
most
do on his.
sallow face I've ever seen on a human being. Well,
That's the point, though.
loosely defined human being.
But I still have some work to do on Ravi. But she's hard to do with all the grayscale. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm working on it. I swear, but I'm trying my best.
I believe in
Well, that's
you.
fine. I don't need anything to be like super exact, so.
And I appreciate that. It's like I'm not 100% happy with the shield, but I don't know how much better I'm gonna make it immediately. So
Yeah, I think the shield's fine.
okay,
It looks old. In a good way.
which
It
is
looks like it's seen battles, you know?
Mm-hmm. Which
It's
is good
not
because Robbie is supposed to be pretty old, so.
yeah. It's not super clean, it's not super pretty, but like that adds to it, you know? It looks experienced rather than like
shiny.
aesthetic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good, good, good. And then I need to make her hair longer, which that's an easy fix. And did you want like
Mhm.
more curl just in general, more like wavy,
Just
or
a
what were you
little
thinking?
wavy, yeah.
Little wavy. Okay, and then not much longer, but like shoulder length.
Yeah.
Okay, that should be an easy fix. I just have to get there. Is the color gray for her hair okay? I know it's
Yep.
kind of like a weird.
That is fine.
Okay,
Color is perfect.
cool. But yeah,
Yeah, it's supposed to be kind of like a dark gray, so yeah.
it's hard with like highlights and shadows and everything. Like you don't have like a monotone specific single color in any of
Mhm.
that. There's like the flip around.
I'm gonna play Shadow Kai, but instead of everything being black, everything is blue or pink.
I feel like
It's
the blue is like the
monochromatic, but
Vedalken.
I always forget the Vedalken exist, which I think everyone else does too, so it's fine. Um,
Like everything blue. That's a Vedalken. Okay,
I think the one time
Like,
I've
I'm
seen
playing in a campaign with one, so.
right?
neat. The one time I've seen anyone talk about a Vedalken character was a Tuluk the Barbarian video where he made Megamind as a D&D character. And
Nice.
obviously that was a Vedalken.
Nice. Very, very nice. I like that.
Is it Vedalken or Vidalken?
Yes.
I always say Vidalken, but
Vedalken
Until I
seems
hear
to roll
other
off
people.
the tongue easier, but I feel like that A is deliberately placed, you know?
GIF, GIF, whatever. You know, as long as people know
Yeah.
what you're talking about, take care of the scents, and the sounds will take care of themselves.
yeah.
I think I I had
Song.
a Vedalken concept at one point. I
You
don't
have a
remember it
concept
now
for
though.
everything at one point, though.
Sounds
Wow.
of
It's true.
kind of reminds me of
Wow.
Tell me it's not true.
the time when I was first learning D&D and I thought drow were pronounced dro instead.
Well, it's like snow, right?
You're
Yeah,
not
I know, right?
you're not the only one to think that. As long as you don't say tiefling, we're okay.
Typhling? Oh,
I
Yeah,
crap.
draw the line at tiefling.
I mean, Tie. How do you say that?
I know,
Tiefling.
it's
It's
obviously tiefling.
German.
But it's Tie, tie, die, rye, why? I
Thief.
can't talk because I've got like the tiefling, same thing going on. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna call it tiefling. That's me.
Okay.
If you
I'm a
like.
tiefling.
I haven't played enough of those, I think. I've only played a
Did you
couple.
watch? So while we have Min here, did your campaign end a little early, or are you just like free?
I'm taking a little break from it. So
Everything okay with it?
I figure. It's kind of like a casual session, and nothing much is happening right now. So I'm just taking like a little short break from it, and then I'll go right back
Cool.
to it. So
Gotcha.
yeah. So I
But
can't
there's
stay for long, but yeah.
totally fine. While we have you here, Ava, did you want to ask anything so that we can
Yeah,
get
so
Lishka ready for tomorrow and all that?
I guess mainly I just wanted to sort of hash out how we're introing your character and stuff. So the main reason I suggested someone Raven Queen related was because I was going to say that your character is, you know, being pushed toward the island by her,
Mhm.
or indirectly if you like. I'm not married, but anyway, um, being pushed toward the island because souls haven't been making it to the Raven Queen from there, and it's been a bit of a red flag because as far as she can tell, and this is a spoiler for you, Tiff, but it's fine. Well, kind of. You already knew some stuff. Anyway, as far as she can tell, people are still living on the island, but people are not seeming to die on the island, or at least their souls are not making it off.
Mhm.
And so you are being sent to deal with that in whatever way you can. Just figure out what the heck is going on and hopefully solve the problem. Um,
Yeah.
I, if you are available and interested in playing tomorrow, we
Mhm.
could have you be a stowaway on the ship or even just another passenger. Um,
Yeah.
otherwise,
Yes.
intro you on the 17th, which is the original plan. Only that far away because we're not playing on the 3rd, and then I won't be playing on the 10th because of extraneous circumstances. I have to work more than usual that week.
Yeah.
Um, so, lost my train of thought. Sorry. Please hold. But yeah, so either we're interviewing you tomorrow or entering you on the 17th. And if it's tomorrow, you'll be probably a stowaway on the ship or something. And if
Mhm.
it's not that, you'll be arriving on the island through your own means.
Yeah, I think stowaway on the ship probably makes the most sense for Lishva.
Okay, cool. Then yeah, that is what we will do. I will message you today. We can sort of hash out more backstory stuff and whatnot.
Mhm.
Or if you want to just type out whatever in Lishva's channel in the Discord.
Yeah.
Have you seen the stream like threads and stuff?
Yeah, I see like the individual threads and everything.
Yeah. So just type out whatever you want me to know about Lishva. Physical
Okay.
description,
Yep.
backstory stuff, whatever.
Mhm.
And I will communicate with you today and tomorrow and sort of make sure that we've nailed down, how you got on the ship and all that jazz. Because
Yep.
I imagine it'll come up.
Yep.
Um, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. A note, and I need to make this in the actual channel too, so that both Leo and Vice are also, or Dust and Vice are also aware. But I also want you to consider, Tiff and Min, something that your character regrets.
I
Ideally
see.
centered on ideally close to the concept of grief, but not necessarily. Think about what your character has experienced that they deeply, deeply regret.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah,
Okay, I shall think about that.
I'm
yeah.
making notes and putting it in there so people can see it and everybody knows. All right. Regret. I mean, that could be anything for Laurel. She could like regret so many things. She
What kind of a
squished a
life has
Yeah.
bug
she
the other
lived?
day. No.
Given what I have planned for Lishma backstory wise, I feel like there's room for it. I just have to come up with a story behind it.
Please, I encourage.
Yeah.
um,
And then for the 60-minute tomorrow, you won't be needed, Min. I'm
Yeah.
wrapping up my stream over the next couple of weeks. And so tomorrow is just going to be a 1-to-1 with myself and Daisy. And then the next week, we're just not doing anything. We might do like a downtime stream if people are down for it, but it's just like relaxed, not a playing stream. And then the 10th, I'm going to be wrapping up Tom's arc so that after that, uh, Min will be, or sorry, your Min, Vice will be jumping in, starting her game. So
Nice.
there.
the 10th will still be important for you, but it won't be the 60-minute game.
Mhm.
Vice's pronouns are they, them. Don't forget.
Yes, sorry.
You're good. I,
I
I
appreciate
said
being reminded because my brain is all over the place sometimes.
no worries.
Yeah.
I did say they like right after you said she, but it was a bit missed because I kind of mumbled on accident. In any case, yeah, those are the plans. Gotta
Sounds good.
I gotta
Yeah,
figure
so
out.
I guess I'll oh yeah, as far as having Lishva join and everything, what level should as far as building the sheet, do we like what are
Oh,
the character creation rules I should be aware of?
server creation rules. And
Okay.
then build to level 2 for the moment. Um,
Okay.
actually,
May as well just start at 3,
start
honestly.
at 3. But
Okay.
when the other two reach level 3, you will not. It'll like they'll be reaching level 3, and then you guys will level up together after that. Um,
It just doesn't make sense for you to start at 2 when we're like
Yeah.
a session between
Makes
4 and
sense.
3. So
And that is actually preferable because then Lishva will have a subclass. So
what is Lishva's subclass, by the way?
Ancestral Guardian.
You know, I should have expected that.
shock and surprise.
It's funny. I actually first made him as like a joke character, I guess you could say, because I was looking at a barbarian and I was like, you know what? How about a Shatterkai rage? And yeah.
I have an ancestral guardian barbarian concept that I've never had much of a chance to play. Largely just because I haven't found a good game for it, and also I struggle to play martial characters a lot of the time. In any case, the short of it is that the spirit she channels in battle, the ancestor, well, not ancestor in this case, but the spirit she channels is the spirit of her sister, and she channels them through a pair of shackles that she willingly wears, almost as an accessory.
Mhm.
The I don't want to get into the nitty gritty because things will get dark fast, but her and her sister grew up together, of course, and worked together for um, worked together, and then her sister went off with someone she thought was trustworthy, turned out not to be, and terrible things happened. And this character is out for revenge, but I haven't found a good game for that yet, and I tend to prefer casters and skill monkeys because I don't know, I like doing everything.
I have
Yeah.
such a very random thing that just popped on my Facebook feed, and I have to say it because it's
Please,
terrible and it's awesome at the same time. And it's that whole keeping that attempt at the PG 13 rating for everything, and yet you gotta find those little ways around it. So you have Penelope. Penelope made headlines for her repeated refusal to mate with the zoo's male platypus, Cecil. The New York Times said that Penelope was not lovesick, but sick of love when she escaped from the zoo's platypussery in 1957, never to be seen again.
no, nothing else matters. You said the word platypus.
Platypussery. I'm like, that's the best thing. What kind of word is that? It's the best word, platypussery. like,
Oh, it's got to be the most
Anyway.
R-rated, non-R-rated word ever.
yes. but at the same time, I'm like, I had to share. I apologize for my yeah. Anyway, you're right, Min.
Yeah. I was just going to say I should probably get back to what I was doing earlier. So
Yeah, I
Oh, no
think that's
worries.
everything that we were kind of hoping to get from you. Did you need anything else from her,
no,
Ava?
I
Or
think everything seems
I
straightforward. I know exactly what to do with Lishba now. I know what steps to take, and I guess I'll see you tomorrow.
Sounds like a
cool,
plan.
cool.
Hmm.
Call time is 6:30 Central. I don't know what
Yep.
time zone you're in.
We're
Yeah, I'm in
yes.
Pacific, same as Tiff. So
Oh, okay. Then yeah, 4:30 Pacific,
yeah.
and we usually try to go lights on at 5
4:45.
Pacific. Well,
Yeah.
But
the stream starts at 45, and then we go like cameras loosely
live
because
at
I'm the only one who
5.
uses one. But
Yeah.
yeah, we go live at 5. Um,
Sounds good.
but yeah. All right, cool. You get back to your game. We will see you
Hmm.
tomorrow.
Have
Have a
a
good
good
one.
All
game.
right.
See you soon.
Hmm.
Yay for getting that taken care of.
Yeah, that was unexpected. I didn't think she was going to join us tonight.
It works. It worked out well.
Indeed, it did.
Platypussery.
We
I've got to
are
find a way
mature
to like.
adults.
Yep. Absolutely. But come on. I'm gonna find every possible way to say platypussery that I possibly can.
Surely that's not the
Because
best word for that. Like, surely they could have come
that's
up with a different word,
but they didn't.
but they didn't.
I mean, if you think about like yeah. The meaning of a platypussery is a place for care and exhibition of the platypus.
I feel like I assumed as much, but the
I mean,
confirmation
it's
is
fair.
nice.
It's also a place where platypuses are reared. It's a noun. Also spelled platypussery. Uh, portmanteau of platypus and a nursery. So it's like a platypus nursery, I guess, is where they kind of like put it all together. I love words. Words are fun.
Etymology is a delight.
It's great. That's
Do you ever think
what I work.
about do you ever think about how many words shouldn't exist in a fantasy setting because they're named after real world people, places, gods, whatever, Like
No, but now I do.
just there are a lot of words and things that are like the history of them is strictly reality, you know what I mean? So
Well,
like
that's where we need to come into creating our own lore specific curse words so that
I
we
have
can
considered it.
I mean, if we can create them and they sound uh, good enough that we're willing to take them on and do that, then we can use that and it'll be okay because they're not real words, but they've got feeling behind them.
See,
And
as skilled as I am, conlang is not in my toolbox, as far as I know.
we'll
Um,
figure it out. We gotta get there.
Sometimes
It's
I
just
can I
mostly.
can do good stuff with like portmanteaus, but I'm not a conlang kind of person. I'm not gonna go Tolkienian on this and make up entire new languages. Um, I
I'm
can't even
not
be
gonna
bothered to
go.
make a calendar.
I'm not really gonna. I mean, like, technically, I've got a calendar. Technically, but that's still a pain in the butt to actually implement, which is why I haven't yet. Um,
Well,
but
we're also very
having
loosey goosey with time and date, so
loosey goosey is very helpful because typically, whenever we're playing on the server, it's a matter of who's available when. And if you're not available for 3 months, you don't want to wake up and you're 5 years older. Like, oh crap.
right. Well, the other thing that I have is while I can enjoy that kind of nitty gritty attention to detail with world building in the things that I consume, I don't always find it fun to do that kind of nitty gritty world building. You know what I mean? So
I don't necessarily have a problem. Like, this is my autistic side coming out. I don't have a problem building it. I like building it. But then I start getting peeved when people don't use it. It's like, I spent all this time doing this and you're not using it?
that's
Rude.
fair. That's fair. I, yeah. My thing is, I just don't always remember those things too. And it's difficult to be like, oh, let me look at the wiki real quick in the middle of a session.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's a reason why we have look up stuff. There's a reason why I always keep notes. If I am going back and looking at notes, I can't remember yesterday. I can barely remember this morning.
If I was capable of taking good notes, high school would have been a lot easier for me. Um,
I don't necessarily mean like copious amounts of notes, but like if I notice that something is something I want to have repeated, I make a bullet point. If it's something that I feel like is important, I'll make a bullet point. It's not that I'm like giving a whole bunch of great detail because I'm not very good at that. But bullet points so that I can be, oh yeah, jog my memory as to what that is. That helps. And especially when I'm like actually running a game, I don't want to, like I every so often I'll have like a couple pre-planned scripts, but for the most part I don't want to do that because players take things in so many different directions.
I do have a bit of a monologue in mind for a future session, but that's beside the point.
And you have to
Um,
get to that point. And having the occasional scripted moment is not a bad thing. It's a good thing to have the occasional scripted moment. Um, because that does mean that it's a planned, expected event, as opposed to like, oh, I'm going to script everything and it's going to come off whatever. That doesn't really work because then people make flower flower sandcastles in the middle of a general store. I don't know what to do with that. Okay,
I didn't know
cool.
what to do either. That was nonsense. I was just messing around, really. I didn't have any
Yeah,
plan.
yeah, you were. You left the poor shopkeeper like, what?
I helped him clean it
What?
up. It's fine. It's fine. He's fine. Look at him. He's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, he's totally fine. Forget what his name is, but I don't think I even gave him a name.
Randall,
That's fine.
I
Sure,
think.
Randall. I'm
I,
gonna go with Randall now because I like it. Anytime that I have a random character, they're just gonna be Randall. That way you know
delightful.
that they can be forgotten. Okay,
Hopefully, there's not
random.
too many Randalls at once. It might be weird. Into the
What
Randall
about
verse.
Randall? Like the first Randall? Could we go back to that third Randall? Because that fourth Randall was like really annoying, but that third Randall really had something. All right, so I've got to finish that artwork. I am heading out of town on Tuesday, heading out Tuesday morning, out for a bit. So I could possibly like check in and stuff with people, but I'm going to be vacationing. So yay,
Ooh, a
vacation.
vacation. That'll be good. Where are you going?
Vegas,
Ooh. Any
hanging out with a
specific
couple
plans once you're
friends.
there?
Um, well, hanging out with a couple friends who live in the area. Also, I got I love going to places and getting like their local city guide thing and just kind of doing whatever's on their city guide thing. So I've got like a Groupon for like their city guide thing, and so I've got like 3 days of nonstop activities as long as I manage to get to the right place at the right time and do the right thing. And I'm like, cool. So I'm gonna be able to. I don't know what I'm gonna do until I get there and see what's sold out and what I can actually make. But it's meant to be like I got like a whole bunch of escape rooms and museums and shows and
Cool.
activities and stuff. I was like, yes, 3 days of exhausting the crap out of myself, and then I hibernate and maybe like hang out in the pool. It'll be cool.
That's awesome. I hope you have a good time with it.
I hope so
I
too. It's
I
like my
haven't been to
goal is
Vegas
to,
since I was a kid, so
yeah,
my perspective on it was a very, very narrow.
which is understandable. And like as an adult going in, it's like my son is just kind of like, make sure you don't gamble away all of our money. I'm like, son, not gonna do that. It's like as long as you go into any sort of gambling situation knowing what you're willing to spend and what you're willing to lose, it's no different than going to the movie.
Yeah.
That's like you're playing a game, you spend $50 for a game. If I'm going to spend $50 to go to escape room, I spent $50. That's cool. If I want to spend that $50 in the casino instead, great. I have decided I am spending $50. It becomes a
Right.
problem if I spend more than that. But if I've already predetermined what I'm going to spend and I don't spend over that, it doesn't have to be a big deal.
No, I think that's a solid way to think about it. I have not gone gambling. Um, so I don't have any
I
basis
mean,
for that.
you've seen me roll like in any game. So I go into any gambling situation knowing I'm just going to lose. And like, okay, well, I'm going to have fun while I'm losing. So how much am I willing to lose? I know I'm not going to win, but I can at least enjoy the moment, play for the sake of being in the moment. But I don't go in thinking I'm going to come out winning. I'm not. I know. I'm aware. Luck is not never on my side. It's like, no,
You
that's just not a
so
thing that I got.
you so negative. You
I'm
so negative.
realistic. I'm realistic. It's not that I'm negative. It's like if I had good things, if I had good luck, I'd be like super happy about the good luck. I work really hard for everything that I get, and luck has nothing to do with it, quite frankly. It's like I had to work and I had to push myself for every little thing that I do. So I'm not going to thank luck for anything because every time I rely on luck, it fails because
Fair
I
enough.
am not lucky.
I like to think of things as a combination. There is definitely a luck component to a lot of things, but I don't think that luck and hard work are exclusive. This is something Phoenix and I were talking about a while back. If you're not if you're not keeping your eyes open, and of course I mean this broadly, not you specifically, but if you're not if you're not flexible and receptive to luck, it doesn't matter how lucky you are, you will miss those opportunities, you will miss those things. But conversely, if all you do is wait for luck, you'll go nowhere and achieve nothing. You need both, I think, because I don't know where because was going. That sentence kind of died on
See,
me. But
I'm kind of the opinion that a healthy dose of both is definitely helpful. I think that people who have good luck can skate through a lot of things. I think that people who work really hard can overcome a lot of things that luck doesn't help them out with. But the people who tend to be the most successful have that healthy dash of good luck and good work ethic. And it's like, if you have both, you get a lot further than if you have one or the other.
I suppose that's true. I don't know. I just, like I said, I just don't like the idea that they're exclusive. And I feel like a lot of the time when people talk about luck or hard work, and again, this isn't directed at you, it's more just a
Oh, yeah.
conversation I had recently. But anyway, when people talk about one or the other, they talk about it in those sorts of exclusive terms where it's like, oh,
I
you
don't,
just got lucky. He
yeah, it's like,
just got lucky. It's
I
no,
don't
not
think, I
usually.
agree that it's not necessarily exclusive. That being said, I'm also the first to admit, agree, etc., that there are exceptions to every rule. There are people who just get lucky. Saying that there aren't people out there that just get lucky is being foolish.
Well,
Some people just get lucky.
my point isn't so much that people don't get lucky. My point was if those people are not receptive to that luck, it doesn't matter what the luck is. A
Well,
winning
yes
lottery
and no.
ticket, a winning lottery ticket could present itself at your feet. And if you
Yep.
don't look down, it doesn't matter. The luck
That's
is
not
meaningless.
okay. Let me finish this though. Okay. I agree that 95% of the time you need both. 95% of the time you need both luck and work ethic to be able to do it. I think that I do think that there are times that people are just lucky. People just won the birth lottery. And so they don't have to worry about anything because they were born to the right family.
I think it's more of
People
a
who,
privilege conversation than a luck conversation, but
it's still luck. Tell me it's not.
what I mean is that that's when you start crossing into things like systemic advantages
We can
and
talk
like
about that a whole other thing, but I'm trying to go into the idea of if we're talking about luck, systemic advantages are part of that luck.
I
Being
suppose
born a certain way, you're luckier than people born different ways.
fair enough.
That's just how that is. And some people are just lucky. Some people are just unlucky. And when you're unlucky, you have to work harder. That's not a good, bad. Otherwise, it's a fact. When you're not lucky, you have to work harder. And some people, no matter how hard they work, they're not going to have enough luck to get them past the barrier. The
Fair
glass
enough.
ceiling is going to be there. And no matter how hard you work, no matter what you try to do, you're not going to be given the option to move ahead. That's one of the things I have to like stress with a lot of my students who talk about like, oh, people who make bad choices, blah blah blah. It's like, well, people don't typically make bad choices. They just aren't given good ones. If you had the choice between if you had a good choice or a bad choice, most people are going to take the good choice. But if your two choices are both bad choices, you're going to have to make a bad choice. You're just going to make the better of the bad choices based off of your circumstance and what you have available to you because of luck.
Yeah. A lot of the time we do have to we do have to choose the lesser of two evils. Still both evil though.
You can have two bad choices, and people who don't have to deal with those choices just see that you made bad choices. That's all that they see. They don't see that those are the only choices you had.
No, that's fair. I've definitely experienced that too.
I was like, oh, well, you shouldn't make bad choices. Well, then give me better ones. Thanks.
Right.
If I had better choices, I would make better choices. But I make the best choice I can given my situation. And if I'm not lucky enough to have the situation, I can't hard work my way out of that.
Right. No, that's
And
a
then you
good.
have the people who like hard work their way, like they're given two bad situations. So they choose the lesser of the two and they hard work their way into that. And it just looks like they're hard working their way into that bad situation because that's the better situation for them. They're hard working. It's like,
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I kind of stand by that. Like, it does. There's still a measure of work required, even in the case of good luck.
there's a measure
You
of,
could be born a prince and still screw it up. You did definitely win the birth lottery, but it still requires an effort. An effort. Maybe not a lot. Maybe not a
I
lot,
mean, I
but
I don't want to go this I while we're streaming I don't want to go this route, but I'll talk to you about it after the stream in regards to some suggestions where I have thinking otherwise on that. But winning the birth lottery, yeah, maybe some effort, but certainly not as much.
of course not.
Um Oftentimes it's just don't drop the ball as opposed to you have to get the ball in the first place.
Oh yeah. I mean, there are obviously scales to this and nuance and spectrums and all that. And I don't want to oversimplify anything, but that's kind of exactly what I mean is that I don't know, maybe it's just because I have been spending a lot of time, sort of working with the voice acting and listening to other people's experiences with it and stuff, and there's just obviously a lot of hard work goes into it, obviously. But a lot of it is also luck too. And I
Agreed.
think it's a combination of things that make those things work. It's not.
Well, and in the matter, like when it comes to art specifically, and I do mean that this is a fairly art specific thing, you have to have both. There has been a long standing saying in like the theater business that the best actress in the world is waiting tables because she hasn't been discovered.
Yeah.
And if she doesn't have the luck to get discovered, it doesn't matter what hard work she's got because she's not in the right places being seen by the right people at the right time. There is absolutely that level of luck required when you're doing anything artistic. I mean, the stream that we have right now, whether or like we can put as much work as we want into it, and I hope that we continue putting work into it because you know that I push it all the time. We do put work into this. We want to put work into this. We want to grow. We want to expand. But if it's not seen by the right people, doesn't matter how much hard work we put into it. It's only going to reach a finite audience.
That's
We
true.
have to get to the point where we have to have enough luck that we have our hard work hitting at the same time that we're seen by the people who can actually get us out further for us to be seen further.
Yeah.
So
But to
that's
that
agreeing with what
point,
you say, and that is absolutely agreeing with what you say in regards to you have to have both luck and hard work. You have to have both.
and to your point about audience and all that, in those sorts of situations, I feel like the hard work, well, obviously we do still need luck, period. Hard work can decrease the or can increase chances, I guess. It's
That's
not
a good way of putting it. It gives you more
random.
opportunities to get that luck. Like the more work that you put into things, the more likely you're able to get the view of somebody who might offhandedly tell somebody else or might randomly put us in one place or another, which is fantastic. I mean, like, I'm looking at our stream right now. We've got like the whole two people. Hey, two people, probably just us
I was going to
like
say, I think
watching
that's
it
you and
right
me,
now.
but
That's us, but still. And then I'm looking at like the recommended channels with like 25,000 people, and I'm like, yeah, cool. And then like 63,000 people just chatting. I'm like, okay, fantastic for those people. Maybe we'll get there at some point. I'm not counting on it, but if we don't do the hard work, if we don't put ourselves out there, if we don't try to put our best face forward every time we're on a stream, if we don't do our best work, the likelihood of if the right person happens to stumble upon us and we are trashed that night, well, when would they come back? We have to put our best foot forward every time. You know, you're talking about like the work that you're doing with voice acting. I no pressure on this. I apologize for even putting this thought in your head, but like the possibility that somebody out there might hear one of our games and listen to you, watch you. Are you always putting your best foot forward with that?
and
Keep that in mind because you never know who's watching.
I that thought has occurred to me as well. I don't really want to focus on it in any meaningful way,
Yep.
because it feels like a distraction. With
Yeah.
the D&D, I always want to focus on the game. I don't want to. I don't want it to be about the other stuff. Because I've been in a few different streams that have tanked one way or another, and I feel like the charm of actual plays, the reason why a few of them are as popular as they are, the reason why the concept has taken off, is in the personability and
Authenticity.
the
Yeah.
authenticity is a great word for it. The sort of inherent joy in the concept in the people that are playing, not so much production quality, not so much the
I
ones that
agree with
network the
that.
best or
I
whatever.
agree with that to an extent. And part of that is also the fact that, being autistic myself, it's kind of like you also have to facilitate things. And production value goes a long way to people being able to envision things that they might not be able to see in their brain.
Oh, yeah. I don't mean to
And
imply
so,
that I should ignore production quality. I just mean that my primary focus, I want to always be the game, always be the people at my table, virtual or otherwise.
absolutely, that's kind of the important things. Like, if you don't care about your players, that shows.
It does.
And
It always does.
like people who shall not be named, when they were only caring about production values and they didn't care
I
about the
know this
people, like,
one.
um, but like that's not to say to neglect production values. It's just a matter of we want to care. Like part of caring more about like.
All I mean is
I'm
that
backtracking because I'm trying to think of like, the best way of phrasing it because I find my words hard to find sometimes.
you're good.
But oftentimes, for me, the production value is about pulling in the best from my players, providing the best for my players. I want to give my players the best experience. And by giving my players the best experience, I feel like anybody else watching will also appreciate that.
And honestly, if they don't, that's
That's not,
okay. Like
yeah, that's fine because it's
I
for the
genuinely
players.
love this game and want
Yeah.
to play it as enjoyably and immersively as I can.
And
And,
that's where it kind of goes back down to like, I want my players to have fun. I
yeah.
want to pull things in and make it important. Like I was talking to Min trying to get you like trying to get your artwork, trying to get Min's artwork. I was like, I like doing that. I like having things like, is this what you're wanting? Is it close to what you're wanting? How can I fix it? It's like I don't want to just be like, oh yeah, art. um I feel like art is an important part for me to be able to visualize things, be able to see things. Um and I feel like it helps with the production value, but I also think that it's just kind of important for you guys.
Yeah.
I'm I'm spending hours of my time making gifts for you guys and art. Here you go. Here's your character. Now you can see what it looks like. Like, hey. Sorry,
Yeah, absolutely.
I
No,
rambled.
you're good. That's actually I was gonna say I really like that all of her character art, barring my weird portrait of Daisy, I like that all of her
She had a
character
reason.
art is from the same artist. I like the synchronicity in that with it all being the same
That
art
is
style.
also not true because Vice drew
I
cricket.
for yep,
But
I had that thought as soon as I like said it.
but at the same time, cricket is not a humanoid, and like I could do cricket, but it wouldn't. I don't think it would do as much justice as Vice does for cricket because
Yeah.
it's like it looks cricket looks right.
Yeah, I agree with that. They look the way they sound.
Yeah, it meshes really well with the style, so it doesn't seem like it is out of like out of step. And
Yeah.
I love Daisy too, but I also really appreciated, and I at some point we need to like dive into that further when it's a different format because I really appreciated the thought behind Daisy in regards. So this is kind of a crayon drawing that she drew of herself, and that's what I want to have for
I
her.
forgot I said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starting like I want to make it messy. I want to make it this kind of crayon drawing of how she sees herself so that as she evolves, I was like, yes.
In
And
truth,
then
I really did start with too big of a concept for the format.
for the
Um,
format, it definitely needs more time to develop. When we're working on things that are just basically bounties that could shift from week to week, it makes more sense to have a simpler character
a more
with a
self-contained
simpler.
character. You don't
Yeah,
roll up to a one-shot with a novel. Is I think that the best way to think about it because
it's a great way to think about it, and especially when you have a character that is like, there's nothing wrong with interdependency. I think that interdependency is a fantastic thing for most games because one person should not be able to do it all.
yeah.
But when you're in a one shot and you can't do most
Well,
of
I
the
I
things
think the other
alone,
thing is I didn't properly consider the fact that I would be spending half my time alone.
right?
I do wish I'd explored the finger puppet angel and devil a bit more. But that's
Well,
beside the
we
point.
have tomorrow,
We
and
do
we
have
can
tomorrow.
play a little bit with that. Like that is kind of one of the things I'd like to work on tomorrow is a little bit of that finger puppet angel and devil. I think that'd be fantastic. Um, so that I can use that as kind of like that guiding bit as to where you go next.
Yeah. I've been thinking about it and I think the big thing that's going to happen is when the mouse that has a name, I am positive, makes its way back to Daisy. Um the first thing that's probably going to happen is she's going to realize she's alone again. And there's going to be this, I imagine, and this is foreshadowing, I suppose, because, not the stream, but it's going to involve her realizing that to an extent, the person she was talking to, I'm bad with names, but she's going to realize that that loyalty was a bit fair weather. Or that's the assumption she's probably going to make because he's gone.
Well,
Um,
fair weather. I mean, and assumptions that like perspective is important, and her perspective on things versus what reality might say. And it's like I still have to talk with Dust in regards to like what's really happening with Tom. Um,
I need
but
to ask Dust as
regardless,
well. Like,
the
is
perception from Daisy in regards to just like Tom's gone.
well
But
the thing I need to ask, I need to ask Dust. If this has happened before, where he's gone essentially missing, and she's ended up with the mouse. Like, is this a signal or is this just she's gonna need someone? I better send her the mouse. You know what I mean?
that's
Um,
definitely something that you should like talk to him about and confirm and let me know before tomorrow
we
because I'm
hadn't
looking
really
to know that.
coordinated much to determine their history or anything like that. We didn't coordinate anything with Daisy and Tom, actually. Everything that happened with them on the stream and stuff was like off the cuff. Um, which is delightful. It was a lot of fun to sort of make that stuff up together and just sort of bounce off each other's ideas. I lost where I was going with that sentence, but it's fine. Uh,
That's all good.
but yeah, no, we didn't coordinate anything. So
And there
the
can be some joy sometimes with just kind of seeing how things mesh when you don't coordinate anything.
yeah,
And honestly, for the format, That makes a lot of sense because you could have very easily just been two strangers who managed to find the same bounty at the same time, and now you're competing against each other, but you've decided to join together. Or maybe you have been traveling for a while. It's like an option that you guys can do with that too. Um, but I forgot where I was going with that. That's okay.
I've always been enamored with player characters that have some sort of history. You know, maybe they're partners, maybe they're familial, maybe they're just friends, maybe they're even professional rivals. I don't know. But I love when characters have a pre established history because it's a built in connection to the party.
It's a
And
built in connection to the party. I tend to find it more interesting. I
the
don't
main
have a problem
reason,
with when people do that. I think that is fine when people do that. I like it, but I also just kind of like I prefer knowing what NPCs are important, and can I make one NPC important to multiple people and have that be the connection,
absolutely.
so
Well,
that
and it
people
isn't
don't have to come up with some sort of like, oh yeah, we've traveled for whatever and we have all this stuff, because not everybody's going to do that.
right. Nor should they necessarily do that. It's not always, conducive to the story you're trying to tell. And the other pitfall there is that sometimes you'll see them make characters that relate and all that, and they can't really exist apart. Um, they're not whole enough characters in their own. I haven't seen that often. I don't have any specific examples in mind, but you do see it in fiction sometimes too, just like the broader world of fiction. Not that D&D isn't fiction, but you know what I mean. Anyway, characters that feel like they don't get to exist on their own is a very big pitfall of the like shared backstory thing, and definitely something to keep in mind. Your character should definitely exist as their own entity. I think I ran
That
into
they
that
should.
before on the server. I had a character that I made as a part and parcel to someone else's character, and then they left.
Which that becomes like a big thing, like when you have, which is one of the reasons why I'm kind of like I hesitate when two characters are intertwined. History makes sense, but when they're kind of like intertwined and they're reliant on each other, and one becomes unavailable for a reason, and then the second is like, well, what do I do?
Right.
How can I move forward with that? It's like, oh, cool. So my partner is no longer around. Do I do that in the back? They're still my partner. They're just doing something in the background. That's fine. I don't know what they're doing, but
But
I
again,
don't
that's where
want them to. Yeah,
yeah, but again, that's where it comes down to making sure your characters are characters, like wholly and completely. Of course, they still need to have an arc and all that, and the other person can definitely be a part of that. But your character needs to stand on their own. It's one of the reasons why I've had a hard time wanting to do group costumes in real life, is because I don't want the costume to no longer make sense if we're not standing 3 feet apart. You know what I mean? Um,
I can understand group costumes better than I can understand group characters, honestly, because at least for a costume, you know that there's a fixed duration that you have to be there 3 feet apart, and you can prepare for that.
that's true. It's a lot harder to make that same preparation when you're looking at, um, when you're looking at dozens, hundreds of hours of gameplay.
Sorry, I got a FaceTime from a student, so I totally missed what you just said.
You're good. I was just agreeing with you and saying that, going to a party and spending maybe two
Yeah,
or 3 hours is a lot different to spending hundreds of hours in a campaign,
where
which
people
they
are going to be
easily
in and
can reach
out,
that.
they like most of them do. It does not take long when most sessions are between 3 and 4 hours each time. You have 10 sessions, you're at 40 hours. Even when you have a short campaign,
Yeah,
it's a lot of time. That being said, I do need to probably shift off. I feel like you probably need to
I
as
do. I
well.
need to go make dinner and stuff.
But we will
Got some raw shrimp
catch
that
back
needs
up
cooked, so
tomorrow.
we're
Ooh,
doing an
yum.
Alfredo.
Call. All right. But yeah, uh, thanks anybody who's watching this after the
Yeah,
fact or currently watching this now. It's great to let you just kind of like see our casual chat behind the scenes. See you tomorrow live at 5.
See you tomorrow live at 5.